The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Soccer to the Max special edition, ending our Tournament of Nations coverage with a 3-0 win for the United States Women's National Team against Japan, as Australia winds up winning the Tournament of Nations, thanks also to a 6-1 drubbing of Brazil earlier in the day. So Australia's the winner, United States is second, and I'm going to guess Brazil is in third. So there you go. United States Women's National Team do not win again. At least they put on a much better showing than they did in the She Believes Cup. And that starts with this game here, Rachel. Any thoughts coming out of this?
You know, Julie Ertz really looks good when she plays her natural position of defensive midfielder. And man, she had a game tonight. Taylor Smith had a game. And just, this was the best lineup that the USA put out in this tournament. Too bad that they did it at the last game.
Anything, Erik?
Aside from that and Megan Rapinoe being the general pest that she is in the attacking third, getting that great goal to kind of relax everything and open up the pace. Yeah, with something about Japan, we looked like we still had a grudge from 2011.
They were getting in behind on the defense a lot, though. This was
They
not
were
an easy game.
No, and Nair had a couple extra sketchy moments. Thankfully, she kept a clean sheet, but I do have to side with Rachael. Why was she in net to begin with? Again.
I can understand for the consistency, and maybe this is Jill saying, you know, it's a tournament, even though they're kind of almost like friendlies, but like, it does not make sense to me to have a 3-game tournament, which again are kind of like friendlies, and have 3 keepers on your roster and not even think about using the other 2 is just beyond me.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. At least start them in one of the games, especially the Japan game when you already know that you're out. Like it doesn't matter what you do, you're not winning. So why not play one of the other ones? This is her decision, especially when she says that after this tournament is when she's going to start formulating everything, and kind of nailing everything down. Don't you want to use one more game to test out people?
Jill? No. You're starting to do it wrong, Jill. Come on now.
Okay, I have a Jill little riff that I need to get off my chest. Hey, Jill, what do you have against McKriger? She is a lovely defender, a lovely human, and she has 98 caps. She's so close to 100. We did not see her once in the Tournament of Nations. Her and Margaret Purce were the only 2 players that did not get any playing time in the Tournament of Nations. Why call them in if you're not even going to play them? Margaret Purce is a little bit understandable because she's a rookie with Boston. She kind of, her spot on the roster was basically just there because Rose Lavelle wasn't there. That's basically what that was. But McKriger has been phenomenal for Orlando this year. She has done everything that Tom Sermani has asked her to do, and she's in her first season with them. She's wearing the captain's armband already. She's a good defender. She is a natural, I think she's natural left back, maybe right back. Whenever O'Hara went out of the match with an illness, I like Taylor Smith. I think Taylor Smith had a good game, but Taylor Smith played Australia and Brazil. Why did McKriger not get in there? Oy vey. That's not taking anything away from Taylor Smith, though, because she had those 2 assists, one for Mallory Pugh's goal, the other one for Alex Morgan's goal, and they were both really good balls. But why bring McKriger in if you're not even going to play her?
And especially by not playing her at all, denying a chance to get her 100th cap on home soil. Wow. I'm left speechless at something like that because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Jill. I swear to God, Jill.
You know, they have.
I think the problem is here, too, that you're bringing her in. You're bringing her in, and you're giving her an expectation that she might get her 100th cap in this tournament. If you're not going to do that, why bring her? And then have her wait till, what, a friendly or something to do it? Or, I guess, a World Cup qualifier, maybe? It just, if you're trying to get a look at, and you're saying this tournament is the last thing that I'm using to start formulating who my core is going to be going forward, don't you want to look at everybody that you brought? Especially someone that has 98 caps like her. She's proven it. Just seems weird.
Jill's weird.
Well, we know that already. But,
I think a trip to the U.S. Soccer House is in order because we need to talk to some people.
Well, I mean, we had a few important goals happen here for 2 different ladies. Of course, Megan Rapinoe had a wonderful goal herself. This tournament has continued her ridiculous run of form that she's on for, club and country, basically. But she's been consistently wonderful during this entire tournament. Alex Morgan gets off the schneid there with the final goal. And Mallory Pugh, is that her first goal, officially?
Of 2016?
For a U.S. national team.
Oh, no. Pugh's had more goals than that.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a good, just good cut in and then just score by her. She's been working hard over there on the right side, but you don't hear a lot from her, so that was good.
That was Pugh's 6th goal.
Okay.
I think this tournament, Taylor Smith, Megan Rapinoe, and Christian Press were the 3 players mainly. I mean, there were some other good ones that had good outings, but those 3 players mainly had their stock rise incredibly high. I think if we're going top 5, you could also put Julie Ertz in that category. And I think I would give it the other nod. I would probably give it to Abby Dahlkemper because while yes, she struggled against Australia, she had a really good game against Brazil.
I agree. I don't know, I feel like we don't even need to... Rapinoe's going to get put in, period, at this point, unless she gets injured. So, unless she just had a terrible tournament, there's no way that I think Jill would have not put her in going forward. I think she's too valuable to the team, but yeah, I saw some people disputing your Taylor Smith, saying that she was one of the ones that stood out here. I don't know what people want in defenders, but if you're controlling your side of the field, isn't that what you're supposed to do as a right back? I mean, I don't know what else.
Twitter made the argument to me that her defending wasn't that well. She denied Marta the entire Brazil match. I think she gave the ball away to Marta maybe once or twice. That's going to be expected from somebody who has never played against Marta before.
And she was really good in this game as well.
Yeah, she had a heck of a game in this one. She wasn't perfect against Brazil by any means, but she wasn't terrible. Keeping a player like Marta at her caliber quiet, not even a goal, is pretty darn good.
And not to mention the fact that she came in with the expectation, with the style of playing high, making chances, almost creating the counterattacks to the midfield and going forward. The fact that she was not only able to do that, get herself an assist, but to sit back and, as you say, defend Marta with very few mistakes, really very few mistakes throughout the entire tournament. It seems like someone that only paid attention to the offensive tactic and not the entire body of work. She was fantastic.
I will say it's sometimes difficult to watch defenders when you're doing it on TV because, TV tends to follow the ball. So you have to actively be trying to look at the back line while the ball is ahead of them, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. That's much easier to do if you're in the stadium and you can see how everybody's lining up and all that stuff. But just to give her a little bit of, sometimes we're not seeing everything clearly, but if the person you're supposed to be defending is not really doing much the whole match, you did your job already. It's not really up for debate in that situation. But look, they did better than the last tournament they were in, but they didn't win. Do we make anything out of that, or is it just like Australia just seemed to? Was it more of a case of Australia just wanted this more?
I think it was a case of Australia wanted it more, and Australia was just better. I mean, Jolie Foudy said it perfectly during the broadcast. Their players are like 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. I mean, this is a team that's going to go to the World Cup in 2019 in France and really give teams like the United States, Germany, England, France, all these other nations. The women's Euros right now, they're two teams, Netherlands and Denmark. Australia's going to give them all a run for their money, and I would not be surprised to see them make it to a final. I think they were better. I think they wanted it more. And I think you had players, young ones for them, that really that had an extra push because they wanted to show their coach, we want to be on your first team. Like, we want to be consistently on your rosters, and we want to be consistent starters.
Yeah, Erik, I mean, everything I've seen from Australia in this tournament, they have been absolutely amazing, and just, it's scary. And they got better with every game. The U.S., they were playing them tight. They got the goal. They ended up winning. Australia was obviously going forward a lot more than the U.S. was. But then with every game, they got much better. They scored a total of 11 goals in the tournament. Just crazy.
11 goals, conceding 3. And looking at these rankings, I don't know exactly how they're going to count this, because in the style they played, or under the rules, they're like friendlies. But if I remember correctly, Australia came into this tournament 8th in the rankings.
Right.
8th. these 3 wins, they're showing the world, U.S., Germany, France, everybody, they're going to be number 1. Are they going to get there right away? No, but it wouldn't surprise me if they go into the World Cup in 2019 as the number 1 team. And a stat that
we'll see, because we'll see how much the women's Euro has to do with the rankings and everything, because that's going to shuffle things around. Because you know, Netherlands, Germany, because Germany got knocked out, but Netherlands and Denmark are like 12th and 15th. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's going to push people up, and Australia not be one of those. You know, yeah, you're right. They could wind up first.
I will tell you what, if the USA is in the top 3, I would even say the top 4 in those rankings, then it is definitely like skewed or something, because they should not be in the top 4, top 3 in those rankings. I would even be surprised if they made 5th.
And a stat that flashed on the screen that caught my eye. The U.S. just this year have now lost 3 home matches. In the previous 12 years, 1 loss on home soil. Now, everybody can say what they want about dynasties and streaks and everything ending. I get that. But when you have this much of a statistical outlier, there is a problem, regardless of how you slice it.
I know what you're saying there, but I think it's more of a case of the world is starting to get better. You can only be great for so long.
And this is part of what I'm saying. We can still show a little bit of dominance. Not like it was from 91 clear through to 2008. That's not happening again. But at the same time, what we can show, we're not doing ourselves any favors either. You just said it perfectly. Everyone else is catching up. Same thing to Brazil in the men's game. When the FIFA rankings came out, they were number 1 for the longest time. They slipped, haven't been back since. The U.S. women's team, hate to say it, but they could be due for a similar situation.
No, and I think they're going to run into that problem. I mean, look, I think the Women's Euro is also important to show that now, let's be fair, Netherlands is the host, so that has probably quite a bit to do with some of why they're doing so well. But, I mean, they're taking it back to the late 80s, early 90s with Netherlands, Denmark, you know, thinking about those men's teams when they were great. But just like in Germany, they get knocked out. Sweden gets knocked out. I mean, all the superpowers that you're looking at, like France was heavily talked about. I mean, if England didn't lose their goalkeeper, they might be in the final. You know, so and I think 2 of those goals that Netherlands scored, they were on the goalkeeper, if I remember right. So, you know, it shows that there's so much more depth in various regions of the world in the women's game, and I think, you know, the U.S. could get hit by so many different angles when you get to that World Cup, especially with some of your more important players are older.
Yeah, I mean, what did they say during the broadcast? Carly Lloyd's going to be, 37 by the time the 2019 World Cup rolls around? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're kind of stretching it there at that point.
And I love Hope Solo, but she's up there too. And I mean, with the way Ellis is, I don't see her coming back anytime soon.
Goalkeeper, you can be a little bit older, though. I mean, Tim Howard's going to be, 39 at the World Cup next year, right? 38?
Something like that. And for goalkeeper, if you can keep yourself in good enough shape, you can be like a Gianluigi Buffon or Edwin van der Sar and play in your 40s.
Howard will be 39 at next year's World Cup.
Yeah, see, I kind of see it like the goalkeeper is just, as long as you're fit and healthy and you're still performing at a high level, it doesn't matter, you know. But that's the only position where it really doesn't. The rest of them, you have to still be able to, because look at, as great as Pirlo can still service that ball, he is a huge liability for NYCFC. So, you have to, not that, like, again, Carly Lloyd is still doing her thing, still going back and forth, but I think she's going to have to, as Julie Fowley pointed out, like, she's going to have to be a little bit more of, all right, I'm going to be more on the attack. I'm not going to go so much backwards and try to defend at the same time because I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't have the pace to go box to box. Keep her more in the attacking half. You can get an extra year, 2 years, 3 under the right circumstances. You just have to make that change and adapt.
Do you think, Rachel, that any of this, how some of the women performed here, is going to translate now to performing better for their NWSL clubs?
I would think so. I think a lot of them have already been consistent. I think one person that definitely needs to do better for both club and country is Alex Morgan. She hasn't really done much. She needed that goal tonight so badly. And even still she looked rough in the Brazil match. Like, she just didn't know what she was doing. She hasn't looked that great for Orlando this year. She needs something to happen this year for her.
Yeah, definitely. I think she needs to, and she has the players around her to do it, right? She has a powerful attacking core. The defense is very good as well. So, it's just all about getting that service to her and her putting in the goals. Sometimes it takes just one of these goals, right, in a tournament like this, and they're off to the races. Let's hope that that's the case for Alex Morgan, just for the sake of Orlando. But let's hope she doesn't, keep on in this funk here. Well, I think you said the next time that they're playing here is friendlies against New Zealand.
Male? See, I haven't decided. Male women, male ladies. Can somebody tweet me so I can get this chant right? I need to know here.
Don't they usually with the soccer teams it's like something ladies?
Well, okay, you have the tall ferns, silver ferns, whatever. But in my mind, if the New Zealand men's team is male men, damn all this terminology.
It could be male women, that's fine.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Male women? Male ladies? I can't decide. I am torn. At Squid Sportshead, help me out here. I'm begging you.
And then tweet him pictures of or GIFs of Don Garber.
Yeah.
Don't get me.
Oh man. Yeah, we'll talk about some of the All-Star game festivities here in a little bit. But Rachel, anything else you want to close with on the tournament, the women's national team? That was a really just that closing the ceremony there for the trophy seemed very just like no one cared.
The Matildas were just kind of like, hey, it's a trophy. Woohoo, we got a trophy.
It's like, hey, we got a preseason trophy, but we're actually going to celebrate it the right way instead of like some of these European clubs that are acting like it's some big deal that they won the Audi Cup or whatever. I'm just like, come on, guys.
Well, that's because they're judged by trophies no matter what. The Matildas
It's like, oh, come on. It's like telling me that the freaking...
are like, we got a plane to catch.
Come on, these are the same people that think the Community Shield is a trophy. Come on.
But this is my point. Everybody in Europe is trophy obsessed.
But it's not. It's not something that you go, oh my god, I won the Community Shield. Please, be excited about that. No, it's stupid. It's meaningless. Come on.
Well, that's because for some of these teams, for some of those players, it might be the only trophies they ever win. So I get that.
Well, let's hope for Australia that they if they can take this performance and take that to the... So did they also play in Asia, the women, or did the women play in Oceania?
I don't know that. That's a good question.
I think the women play in Asia.
I think so too.
Because normally when you have a federation move, they move over everything.
Probably right. I just wanted to. We'll see with the women. They don't really have at least not. We don't have one, right? We don't have a CONCACAF Gold Cup for the women.
Nope.
So probably because
there's a Copa America for the women, but we don't play in that.
Well, I think they have one for every other region except CONCACAF, just because do we even have enough teams to
probably not.
No, because we did have a women's Gold Cup for a while, but then they nixed it. So that was that.
Well, yeah, because it's Canada, Mexico, the U.S., and
barely Haiti, Costa Rica.
Yeah, Costa Rica.
That's.
I think Trinidad and Tobago have a team.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yes, they do play in Asia, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Because the governing body, the Football Federation of Australia, just like with all of them, they have control over the men's and women's teams and leagues. So when they decided, we're moving over to Asia, that ported the lot.
Yeah, there is an Asian Cup as well. So, yeah, pretty much every other confederation in the world has one except for the U.S. So that's kind of funny. But, yeah. Anything else, Rachel, you want to say?
Can we please get Krieger to 100? I have a jersey in my room hanging up. It's ready. But Jill, come on. You don't want to disappoint. You don't want to disappoint me and so many others.
Maybe it'll happen against New Zealand.
It better.
Jill, listen to the woman, Jill.
All right, Rachel. Well, we are recording pretty late here, so you get you some sleep that I know you need. And, of course, always great getting to do the show with you. So
it's great doing it with you guys, too. You guys are the best.
Aww.
Aww.
Bye.
See ya.
Peace.
All right, so we said bye to Rachel, and Erik and I are here to talk about the MLS All-Star game, talk about whatever the latest from Don Garber about Miami being pretty much done, and he named, I think, not him, but there's been speculation about the 4 teams that are sort of have really helped their, I guess, their cause lately.
3 of which I'm happy about.
Of course, Garber was very coy about saying anything that leads you to believe that one team is in the running above another, as you would expect. He's going to be political about it. He can't just go out and be like, yeah, Cincinnati is one of the teams we're really looking at right now. I mean, like,
congratulations on their U.S. Open Cup win, by the way.
Yes, they did. They beat Miami 1-0, and now they are going on to face the Red Bull in a couple of weeks. So perhaps their Cinderella run will continue. But yeah, so MLS All-Star game. Look, it's an exhibition game. You had players going out within 30 minutes. You had players, you had the All-Star game or All-Star team basically completely change at the half. They brought in Gareth Bale and Karim Benzema towards the end, and then also played some of the kids, Real Madrid. No Ronaldo, obviously, for Madrid, but pretty much everybody else that was sort of important played. Madrid wins on penalties, 4-2 on those. Giovanni Dos Santos hits the crossbar with his. Don Dwyer gets his saved, which did not help the MLS's cause there. I think a lot of people make too much of this game about whether or not it's a standing of where MLS is and all this kind of stuff, and I just don't see why you need to make that comparison at all. It doesn't mean jack and shit. It's an exhibition game. I mean, I'm glad that both teams sort of took it seriously, kind of, but,
Well,
I just saw tweets from people today that was like, if you can't beat a team in preseason that didn't have their best player, MLS is nowhere near a top league. Like, really? Really?
Hey, people on Twitter, stop it, okay? Now, everybody knows I use 2 different accounts for 2 different things. Making these wild comparisons and creating these hot takes isn't one of them. I personally thought that we were going to get the floors mopped. We didn't. 1-1 on a quirky yet brilliant goal by Dwyer, taking advantage. Real Madrid, some of their players, they knew it was preseason. They tried a few extra tricks in the box. I mean, hell, you even had Zinedine Zidane's kid play keeper. He made the save on Dwyer's penalty. I'm fine with this. Real Madrid, complete with Ronaldo, dealing with his taxes, whoop-de-doo. They're going to go on. They've got other friendlies. They've got
the Super Copa to deal with. They got the
they got 2
Super
more El
Cup.
Clásicos. Yeah. So it's just like, whatever. They've got bigger fish to fry.
I mean, are you really, like, that same person, you should go say right now that Real Madrid are going to have a terrible season because that was the first preseason game that they'd won all preseason. They've been in the United States.
And even then, they won in penalties.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think people just stupid.
No one believed me when during the American ICC Cup, El Clásico Miami, they talked about that. When they talked about when Barcelona was winning and lifting the trophy. They was like, oh, Real, oh, horrible preseason form, oh, last time it led to a bad season, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, so what? They're one of 3 teams that you know damn well that are going in to win La Liga title. They're going to contend.
Right, yeah. It's La Liga. Come on. Like you said, it's a 3-team league.
Yes, and they're lucky that it's even a 3-team league. Up until 3-4 years ago, it was just the 2.
I mean, and it could be a more significant 3 if Atletico didn't have the transfer ban. Mm-hmm. But still, I mean, they probably would have had Diego Costa by now. But right. It's just... Still, it boggles my mind. The people making such a big deal about,
they take it way too seriously. Were they taking it way too seriously?
No, and then too, like it's that whole feeling of, oh my God, until Dwyer scores that goal, right? It's like, oh my God, MLS sucks, MLS sucks. Oh, Dwyer scored. Oh my God, MLS, they're so great. Like it's like, just hush already. It doesn't mean anything. Real Madrid won, okay. Like if MLS had won, okay, big whoop. You know, MLS can add that to their tally of, oh, we beat this European club, we beat that European club. It's a group of all-stars, for God's sakes. Like, Michael Parkhurst had to make so many freaking ridiculous, like, last-minute saves because, you know, the defensive pairing doesn't play together. You know, Matt Hedges and Michael Parkhurst, they were on the second half. In the first half, I think things were a lot closer, but you still had several chances that Real Madrid could have put away. I mean, this game could have easily been more if Real Madrid would have put some of their chances away. Nikolic had one that barely whisked by. Both teams had opportunities, right? And like Tim Howard came up big, and their first goalkeeper for Madrid came up big, and at times it's just, I think, what I do appreciate is the spectacle that it created.
Oh, yeah. It was great. Well done on the broadcast. They had, like, the different interviews and things. I liked it. To me, it felt like in how an all-star game should be.
Yeah, they said something about 40 different NBA and NFL players there.
Yeah. And, I mean, fans showed up. They packed Soldier Field, which, let's face it, even with the community in Chicago, for a soccer match, that's hard to do. And they did.
Well, and then you got the El Clasico Miami, which was a total success.
Yeah, well, obviously, they planned it that way to be a success, and look at how well that did. So, all of these are the wins that nobody's really talking about. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it helps, obviously, that Chicago is doing well as a team. So, you know, you're going to have more people coming out for that. Real Madrid is going to draw a crowd no matter where they play, who they play. It's just, it's Real Madrid. They're a huge global brand. They're a brand that goes beyond soccer, you know, so.
Yeah, the club is worth something like $4 billion.
Are they that close to the Cowboys? I thought they were a little bit further down, but.
It's around 3.5. They're like neck and neck with Barca and a couple of others.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are at 4.2. So. It just, yeah, it's crazy what, like, the radical responses to this on Twitter, but it was a fun game for the most part. Enjoyable.
Yeah.
I like some of the, you know, I don't think we really need to talk about certain performances or whatever. It's an all-star game, but yeah, it's just overall enjoyable 2 hours, and I want to continue the format. I think in order to grow the game, that's kind of what you got to do, is just keep playing these big clubs.
Exactly, because they were talking about, reverting to East-West, or having an All-Stars of Liga MX. No, this isn't like Japan and Korea where that's the best that you're going to be able to get. If you can arrange European teams that want to play, that's coming to play, keep it going.
Yeah, you already have ICC. Like, why not take advantage of that and have one of those big clubs come and play? So, you know, going beyond that, what did you think about the kits? I like the kits. They were really cool. Kind of going back to the 94 World Cup U.S. team.
Yeah, it had that feel, and I was a little worried when I saw the homegrown, and I was like, okay, all white with the black Target logo. Okay, and I was thinking, I hope they do better. And then I saw the MLS All-Star kits, and I'm like, I want one of those. I like those.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade had one on.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they did this year what they did not do in '94, white numbers instead of red. Very well played.
Yeah, the red number is a little hard to see. The white number is much better on that end. I think that it was cool all around. I think so. Now moving past the All-Star game here, we have a definite transfer, and then we have a couple others that are sort of, again, rumors here. The Montreal Impact have acquired Canadian international Samuel Petit. He's coming from Spanish club CD Isara. He did play previously for Deportivo La Coruña. He also did play in the Gold Cup for Canada as well, which probably helped his stock there. He signed a 2.5-year contract with Montreal. I think obviously Montreal could always use more Canadian guys and more just.
Yeah.
He says it's a dream club for him. So.
Yeah, bring the Canadian players back home. I know if Don Cherry's a soccer fan, he would love a move like this.
Yeah, I think this is good. It's he's a defensive midfielder, and Lord knows Montreal needs help on the defensive side. So this is a plus at this point. Ooh, I'm sorry. I knocked the water bottle on top of my dog on accident.
Aww.
Poor thing. He's super skinny, so that probably hurt him a lot there. But more important news for you, there's news of two different guys here. Nigel de Jong possibly going to DC United after playing a terrible year for the Galaxy last year. Or the Chilean Gary Medel, who plays for Inter Milan right now.
Get De Jong! I told you, DC United. Stop trying. It's not worth it.
No, hold on. You're telling them to get the worst player?
Yeah, if you're gonna go all in on your stupidity. I'm not trusting you to make the right move, so I'm rooting for you to make the wrong one. Make it even more miserable.
You are a spiteful DC. You are a spiteful DC United supporter.
Look, I keep telling you, the days where I root for the Stitchers' nightmares are long gone. I've accepted that, and I've moved on to this phase of my life. And this phase of my life is a god-awful DC United team. I can accept that.
I know, but come on now. Like, do you really have to, just completely go, okay, get the worst? Come on. If you're going to go after a player, Gary Medel, even at an older age, is still somebody that could really come and help your team. He brings tremendous experience.
Sean, help them do what?
Get better. That's the point, right?
No, not for the rest of this season.
Right, this season might be a lost cause. But tanking in MLS doesn't help you, so what's the point?
No. Tanking means you purposely do horrible in the hopes of gaining something to help build your future. What I am telling DC United to do is realize that you are crap, continue to be crap, don't consciously be crap, just stay the course, and things will work themselves out. Just go along that.
Come on now. Ben Olsen needs to save his butt. So
No, because Ben Olsen's going to stay with the team on their bright, shiny new pitch on buzzer point, and then whatever. Just no. If you're going
I don't think that has to be a thing. I don't think that has to be a thing at all. He can get fired this season. They keep playing that badly.
Then let him get fired. Just no. Just know that I'm not holding out any hope for you.
Okay. Well, beyond that, Gary Medel helps his team. If they can bring him in, that's a really good signing for DC United. Don't fall for the Nigel de Jong romance. That's just asking for absolute trouble.
But that absolute trouble is maybe what they need. Like I said, with Gary Medel, that gives them hope. That says, hey, maybe we can get to 30 points by the end of the season.
I don't think that it's about that. It's just about knowing that the team is trying to improve itself. They don't have to get to the playoffs. It is the goal, obviously, but they're probably not going to do it the way they've been playing.
No, they're probably nothing. They ain't going nowhere. Let's just clear that right now.
Good Lord, Erik. This is too much. So
look, DC, they may be too mad, especially this season.
Seattle did announce that they signed Spanish left winger Victor Rodriguez. He is from Barcelona's youth academy. He signed with the Sounders on Wednesday. He's 28, had 2 goals and 25 La Liga appearances for Sporting Gijón, who were relegated last season. So, good get for the Sounders. I mean,
yeah, nice. Helps anchor along the left side. Could do a little bit more, help them a little bit more in transition. I really can't object.
No, I think the Sounders obviously need to make moves to help strengthen the squad. August 9th is the last day for the MLS transfer window. So we might see some more moves happen here as we get closer to that date next week. So it might be too late for some teams.
Care are getting better. See, I like when teams like Seattle do these kinds of things.
You are. Yeah, at least you're consistent. Let me say that.
Yeah, I'm consistently very bitter. I'm not going to.
Look, I don't blame you for being bitter about DC United at all, but come on.
Sorry, when the squid is bitter, the squid goes ham. You should know this by now.
Hey, at least Orlando is doing all right.
Exactly. I have no beef with Orlando. They're making moves, and if a certain someone happens to go to a certain big club, I can come to terms with that. See, I don't hate everything.
Fine. You get a pass. On that, speaking of somebody going to a big club, we don't need to spend too much time on this, but my God, what a saga it has been, and it's finally over. Neymar goes to PSG for 222 million euros. The dude is making $1 million a week. Could you imagine? Could you imagine making $1 million a week? Like, what do you do with all that money? I mean, that's insane.
Exactly what I would do with all of that money. I just can't say it on this show.
Okay, fair enough. But I just like.
I will say this: it involves a private island. I say no more.
$1 million a week is ridiculous for a player. Just absolutely insane.
Oh, and they still haven't said the final number about his signing bonus.
Just wow.
Like I said, I did the math, and if this goes the entire 4 years, it will add up to nearly $500 million. Between his contract his signing bonus, and the transfer fee. Almost $500 million. That's lotto money. That's Powerball money.
Yeah, it's crazy money is what we're talking about here. And just, how do you think this affects I don't think that there's like this ridiculous trickle down now where you have just anybody asking for 150 million or whatever. Mm-hmm. But for somebody like a Coutinho, who's now Liverpool's been objecting to sell him, right, they can now come in and ask more money. Because they know Barcelona has it.
Yeah, Coutinho is going to get Paul Pogba money. He was the previous record holder for biggest transfer ever at 116 million. It wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool were to sniff around with that ballpark. And then you have other clubs buying and selling other players to...
Yeah, freaking Mbappe, who's 18 years old, could go for 180.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy.
You're going to have a lot of monopoly money at the top, and you're going to have smaller clubs fighting for some of the scraps 5, 6, 7 degrees down the line. That's where the real trickle down is going to come in, and how far does that go? That's what I'm interested in.
I want to see next. I mean, we still got a month here for the normal for the European transfer window. Mm-hmm. How many of these players now all of a sudden up their valuations because they think that everybody's going to start spending this money? And, Barcelona really don't have anybody to blame but themselves because they could have either not had a buyout clause or made that buyout clause like the Messi one that's like 350, 400 million. Like, nobody's paying that. But you decided to make it low, so...
Well, nobody's paying that now. Let's have this same conversation in 5-10 years.
Well, by then Messi's not playing, so it won't matter.
He won't be, but there's going to be someone else of that caliber who will.
Fair enough. Fair enough on that end. So I think the last thing, just to touch on it, it was something we should have talked about probably like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That whole deal that was offered MLS from the Miami FC owner, the MP and Silva deal, $4 billion over 10 years for the rights to MLS. I think it was digital rights, or just the rights to air MLS, starting from
it was
when
just broadcast rights. Mm-hmm.
Right, but their deal was that they had to have promotion and relegation. And MLS obviously had to turn it down because they're in a deal currently with Univision, Fox, and ESPN. Number one. Number two, they're not going to take a deal right now that says anything about promotion and relegation because, quite frankly, MLS is not ready for that.
No. And reading up, because my initial reaction was a little bit more visceral.
Oh, and I'm also going to put this little nugget in there too, Erik, is that this same person, Mr. Silva, is now trying his damnedest to get Mexico's second, La Segunda Liga, TV.
The Ascenso.
In the the Ascenso. He's trying to get them TV in the United States.
Oh.
So and they do well when they have their playoffs and stuff. So
yeah,
talk about taking a shot at MLS there, because imagine if they get on TV.
For certain markets, that would be not quite an MLS killer, but that would create some real undue competition. Real undue competition. That's a low blow.
Yeah. Basically, he's kind of taken that.
That's a pop shot.
MLS, you don't want to take our deal? Then let's do
initially, I was prepared to do a whole rant about Don and why he should have at least done something exploratory. But in reading up on why they said no and about negotiation windows and things like that, I understand why he said no. But at the same time, to me, that contract is a little bit, one, too ironclad, and two, both sides could have approached this differently. If you know that you're in that kind of a situation, you keep this a little bit more quiet.
Well, plus, Silva has his own personal reasons, right?
Well, yeah, he has
wants
his own
Miami FC in MLS.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen thanks to Beckham United, where the teams will probably wear his face as a shirt sponsor. But that's another argument.
Come on.
Hey, okay, fine. Maybe
if he has like a foundation, or something, maybe.
Okay, a foundation with their name in print and Bex and Posh Spice on there with face-wise, trust me, nothing is out of the realm of reason with these two, okay?
Come
But
on.
anyway, that aside, because
that
of
would
that,
look terrible on a jersey. Come on.
I'm not saying it would be the best look, but you really don't think that he hasn't thought of that. I mean, honestly,
as a joke, maybe.
I mean, with everybody calling the team Beckham United, you don't think he's sitting there all tatted up, dealing with his kids, or maybe modeling underwear somewhere and thinking, hey, that wouldn't be too bad of a name after all. Let me run with this. Bex, I love you, but I know how you think sometimes. It gets scary, and this is me saying that. Keep that in mind.
God.
All of that aside, this is blocking Miami FC from getting into MLS. Right now, they should be shooting for USL at best as a reserve / affiliate / whatever you want to call it team.
Oh, I don't think if Beckham even approaches them, I think Silva's like, oh, hell no.
Oh, well, that's going to cause a great big fight, and that's going to be a big rift in Miami. Because, unfortunately, with the path that Don has chosen, that's how it's going to be. I'd love to see how that goes down.
Well, I mean, they don't have to have them as an affiliate. They can have they can make their own Beckham United too.
And that would cause even bigger issues. I'm telling you, Silva is going to make this ugly. Unnecessarily ugly. And it didn't have to be ugly. And even from an argument
MLS
about
wasn't going to take that deal, though. It just doesn't make any sense for them to take that deal right now.
No, and I completely agree. And if it not had been for the clauses about exclusive even negotiation windows, I'd say you don't take the deal, but maybe you at least put together something exploratory for promotion relegation. Not saying you have to do it.
But U.S. Soccer has to be the one that really does that. So, and that wasn't even in there.
And again, true. That's why I say you have to get together with all parties involved. I mean, we saw Sunil Gulati at the Tournament of Nations match. You don't think that the two of them get together at U.S. Soccer House and say, hey, this is happening, this is going on, what do we do? Can we even do this? Let's kick the tires. You don't have to do it, but I'm not going to object to kicking the tires. I really think MLS shouldn't do it because if you look at a solid promotion relegation system, you've completely shot the moon on the number of teams. It would not work.
Well, come on. USL has, how many teams?
Exactly. How would you even, and the way that USL even does it with their scheduling, what, are you going to be like the Campeonato Paulista and have your teams relegated based upon what groups they play in? That's how you would have to try to do it.
But that's the issue, though. Like MLS, until they get to whatever number of teams they want to get to, and they say, okay, we're done. There will be no more expansion. End of story, period. Then is when they can start thinking about maybe 5 years after that doing it, because you have to get this past the owners, who then have to approve this, who then have to say, okay, we are okay with our clubs going down, our one club or two clubs, and then another club coming up. And that's the thing too, is that whoever it is from the NASL or USL or whatever has to meet the requirements that MLS has, or they have to go with the next one, and that's the thing too.
Right. And first of all, let's just throw out a hypothetical, the magic number being 32, because that's the most likely. You're not even going to accept 2 clubs. You would have to do like a bottom 4 for it to even mean anything. Then, how would you determine the bottom 4? Then, you have to look at the Division 2 situation between the USL and NASL. That would have to be one unified league with those teams. Then you would have to determine those top 4, as you said, with the requirements, things like that. I mean, the idea would...
Well, yeah, but the problem with USL is you have so many Galaxy 2, Seattle 2, whatever teams. They can't...
They would automatically be ineligible for promotion.
Right.
So you would have to see the non-academy teams. I mean, if we're looking at a reasonable timeline, we're talking maybe if we win the bid, this would be floated around the idea for the 2026 World Cup. You could fold this kind of news into that. And that, to me, would be pushing it. To have your expansion, have your D2 solidified, create the requirements, have all the clubs, etc., and have all the owners and everything agree to it. It's 2017. You may not get this straightened out until 2030.
No, you might not. If you want to make sure you do it right and all the owners approve it and everybody's okay with it, yeah.
Yeah. So, from that aspect, I get it. You committed to the franchise system day one. You are married to the franchise system, no matter how you slice it.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with it. I think fans should be able to as well. I mean, as is, even if you do get to 32 teams, you have to have some way to do something for scheduling, because as much as you would love a one-table league, it would probably be the 2 conferences, and even those 2 conferences would have to be split up into different divisions, ideally NFL style.
I don't know that you have to do divisions, but yeah.
You wouldn't have to, but let's face it. If you're trying to get the schedule right and keep a similar number of games, you either do divisions or you make it a one-table league like we talked about before, and you have a 32-match season. I would personally prefer that, but Don has proven that he and I disagree on a lot of things.
We'll see. They already played 34 games right now as it is.
Yeah, so I personally, it would be more beneficial to shrink it to a one-table league and do it 32. End the regular season 2 weeks sooner.
I wonder, though, if they would ever do a one-table league, just because, again, it's the whole, like, the conferences have been set. This is an American league. We're going to do all this stuff with the franchise. We're going to have playoffs. We're going to have all that, like...
Then you commit to doing the 2 divisions, or the 2 conferences, but even then at 16 apiece, you have to find a way to split that up somehow.
Maybe the other conferences never plays each other.
No. What is this? The English Academy? Come on. No.
Or do it like, what is that, the Liga MX, where you have the blocks?
No, they even don't. They changed the blocks. Liga MX went to a one-table league.
Oh, okay. It's the, what is it that has the blocks, then? Is it the Liga Femenina or whatever that has it, or? We just went through this.
Yes. Yeah, the Liga Femenina has blocks, and as I said, in Brazil, the Sao Paulo State Championship, the Paulistão, or Campeonato Paulista, they've arranged it into blocks. But
okay.
Yeah, Don, we're going to have to talk about this. I know math, I've done logistics. I can help.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know one thing. I think the people that are so pro the pro-rel thing need to just quiet down because it's not happening soon.
Mm-hmm. No.
You could get it to happen in the Division 2 through 4 and maybe start it out that way while MLS figures out what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, if NASL, USL, and then the leagues below them want to figure that out on their own, and US Soccer wants to delegate that, then sure. But I think for MLS, we're gonna be waiting a while, and I think the people that think that Pro-Rel is going to fix the league and everything's going to be great, and all of a sudden you're going to get thousand people watching on TV, and no, that doesn't mean anything. That's just one piece of the cog. I think, adding the VAR is going to help, all that stuff. But it's still about the taking away that perception that the play on the field is less than. And that's going to be hard to disprove, whether you have Pro-Rel or not.
Yeah.
Especially when you have European clubs coming here in the summer every year now. That's so difficult for you to watch that and go, okay, now I want to watch La Liga. Now I want to watch the EPL. Now I want to watch, with Neymar's move, you might get a lot of people that want to watch, starting this weekend, Liga. I want to watch Serie A. Oh, but MLS? No, I'm not watching that. Don Garmer was right about there is a ton of soccer on TV now. He said there's too much, but he's also covering for himself.
Don. Dangerous waters, Don.
There are people that are growing up with. You have your favorite EPL team, or your favorite La Liga team, or whatever, and you're not even really doing much with MLS, right? I mean, there's the other side of the coin too, of people really embracing and growing up with enjoying MLS and all that, and I think that's great. Support your local club, support your local MLS club, whatever. It shouldn't always be about, let me support Manchester United from all the way over here because you're just a number in thousands and millions. But
exactly.
But I think that the whole that whole thinking of Pro-Rel is going to fix everything. It's not. It's just one piece of the puzzle. And I was listening to an interview with Taylor Twellman today, and he was talking about how soccer as a whole, not just MLS, is starting to make Major League Baseball shaking their boots a little bit about how fast it's growing and how big it's becoming.
Truth.
So
in that part, he's right. And again, that's another win from MLS.
And ESPN just got the championship rights, which start this weekend as well. They start today, actually. So it's a big player in ESPN getting back into the European club business. Let's say your ESPN tries to go after some more rights. Because, that's BN losing rights, and, BN's on a very small amount of TV stations,
Mm-hmm.
or TV doesn't have a lot of penetration.
Nope.
Let's say that you have another big El Clasico Miami next year, or El Clasico somewhere else, or just whatever, Real Madrid coming and doing huge numbers, and La Liga comes and goes, look, we want to grow, and you're not helping us grow. Let's try to get on something else.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, hey, you see how quickly CBS Sports Network picked up places like the NASL. Who's to say that a CBS family of networks doesn't decide we can cover some of these games? Just having even a small imprint with the league like La Liga. See what happens from there.
Yeah. So, you never know. You never know, honestly. I mean, look, Turner just went and got the Champions League rights out of nowhere. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting, this soccer climate going forward here, how this is going to be. But we have to go and do the football podcast, because football sort of started up again officially.
Yes.
With the Hall of Fame game and everything else surrounding that. And, of course, there's more news going on. So I think this is all we're going to have for you on this edition of Soccer to the Max. Of course, MLS has games this weekend which are very important, because it's the first MLS games that have VAR, and it's going to be really, really interesting, these condensed games now, how much longer are they going to be with these VAR decisions, and how many of them per match or per weekend are we going to get? It's going to be fun.
Like Howard Webb said, minimum interference, maximum benefit.
And trying to find clear and obvious errors.
Yes.
Not 50-50 plays and whatever. So, all right. Until we're back with you on Sunday for the first time without some kind of damn tournament in a while.
Yeah, and as a parting thought, I have officially decided, if I ever make it to a professional team, I want to wear either number 287 or 302.
Good Lord. What? Why?
Look, if it looks good on a Chivas U20 player, damn it, I could rock it too. Good on the homegrowns for bookending, having that a 2-2 match. I saw some of those triple-digit numbers, and I'm thinking, I need to see more of that in my life. I need to be one of those guys.
That's crazy. But, all right. Until Sunday, we'll see you later.
Peace.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.